Hello and welcome to Trojan Talk. I'm your host, Aaron Taylor. My guest today is Lance Tatum, the new Senior Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs here at Troy University. Thanks for joining me here today.
Oh, happy to be here, Aaron.
And the reason why you're here today is because you are the new Senior Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs here at Troy. And just kind of giving the folks a chance to get to know you in your new position, because obviously you're not new to the university for anyone who's been around, but just an opportunity to talk a little about the new position. But before we do that, kind of give everyone kind of a background of how you got to where you are right now. So.
Right. So I'm actually a Troy alumnus, went to school here in the mid-1980s, graduated with my undergraduate, my master's from Troy State University. Left Troy, went to Tallahassee, completed my doctoral program, taught for a number of years in Georgia, and then came back to Troy in 1998. Just finished my 20th year with the university in September. Spent time as a department chair, spent time as the dean for the College of Education, did a stint as the vice chancellor for Global Campus, which is responsible for everything outside the state of Alabama and online, and then spent the last 5 years in Montgomery as the vice chancellor of the Montgomery campus.
So a little bit of everything here on campus, but all those positions obviously steps to prepare you for where you are right now.
Right,
So.
a little bit of alphabet soup in terms of the experiences I had, but all of those building onto what really is essential to be a good chief academic officer, and that is understanding students, understanding departmental activities, understanding college activities, and then the ability to know what the non-traditional student market looks like, as well as the online market.
And that's one of the things, you've had a lot of experience in that, because there is such a diversity of students in Troy University, whether it be on campus or around the world, and being a part of Global Campus and being a part of one of the outlying campuses, I would think gives you a little bit of better perspective on how to deal with that variety of students.
Yeah,
So.
you know, I think that certainly we all understand that the Troy campus really serves as kind of the core of the institution. The behavior of the population, demographic of student that attends Troy campus is much different in most cases as those student demographics that show up in Dothan, Montgomery, Phoenix City, or online. So yeah, it's about perspective. It's about having the ability to see what is needed by each of our student demographics, and then being able to create plans that support their needs.
And of course, and it probably doesn't go without saying, but a lot of people outside the university community may not realize this, and I'll say it right here, that this Academic Affairs, Senior Vice Chancellor of Academic Affairs, probably one of the more important positions on campus. And don't want to overstate it, but there's a lot of little things you have to deal with, and a lot of that just is the interaction with students.
That's right.
And of course, without students, we wouldn't be here. Right?
That's right. Well, you know, I think that the Senior Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, in essence, is the Chief Academic Officer for the university. So anything that deals with students, faculty, curriculums, specialized accreditation, regional accreditation, all of that falls underneath my supervision. It is at times, quite a job in the sense that I am responsible for the largest organization at the university. It is what we do here. It's our core mission. And so when you tell people that you're the chief academic officer, they're not exactly sure what that means, but pretty soon they realize that your horizons are very broad.
And let's talk a little bit about your expectations for the position, because obviously we've talked about what you have to do, but and relatively new to the position, but I know you've got to have some ideas of where you want things to go and how you, and maybe things need to stay the same. So.
Well, you know, I think certainly the higher education landscape has changed dramatically over the last 15 or 20 years. You know, we'll sit around and talk about the good old days. You know, you used to be able to sit in your office and you had students walking in saying, hey, I want to go to school here. Then it got to the point where you kind of had to walk out into the hallway and say, oh, do you want to go to school here? Now you have to get outside the institution, and you really have to work at recruiting students to your institution. So I think that obviously the way we've done things over the history of this institution have changed in some ways. My responsibility is to try and help maintain kind of that academy tradition in some ways, but look to see where we need to expand and change our ways to meet today's student needs. And I think that's really the introduction of online education into higher education really changed. It was what they call a disruptor in the business. Changed the way in which we deliver programs. It changes the way in which we assess student achievement. So for me, you know, I'm trying to figure out what the next 10 years is going to look like for the university. I think obviously we're going to have to diversify how we do things, and the traditional ways that have worked in the past are not working the same way that they did, so trying to change some of that. I think trying to get back to really the role and mission of a regional comprehensive institution. I think one of the greatest experiences I had as a student here was my relationship that I had with the faculty. I think technology has kind of created distance between the student and the faculty member. I think, you know, certainly finding ways to get those two back together in a more engaged fashion is going to be really important. And then trying to create really great opportunities where students have experiences within their degree programs that give them a taste of the professional life they're aspiring to be. I think the journalism department is probably one of the shining examples we have of that, and what we do in the print side as well as the media side, but students get to actually produce television shows
Yes.
here. And you and I have talked about this in the past. Those who work in this area are really high on Troy University graduates because they come out of this program ready on the first day to shoot, write, produce their own spots. And I think that's going to be the higher education landscape in the future, is career paths and finding ways to get students involved early in their program.
Well, here's looking forward to many more conversations in the near future about the landscape at Troy University. I want to thank you for joining us today, and welcome to the new position. So,
Pleasure to be here. Thanks,
thank
Aaron.
you. And thank you for joining us on today's edition of Trojan Talk.